Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to another recording of Hearthstone. Today is Monday, April the 2nd. That means both Easter and April Fool's Days happened yesterday, which will certainly affect all the news I talk about in today's recording and the next couple of recordings. So it's very possible I fall for an Easter, an April Fool's Day joke. April Fool's Day is by far the most useless day to be a citizen of the internet, trying to get anything accomplished, trying to see any new content. I don't participate in it, don't have ever any intention to participate in it. That being said, it was also on Sunday, so with the exception of the, Hearthstone videos that will eventually come out every day, my pre-recorded footage is still going to come out just on Monday through Friday. Can't trade any of these, and I need to get two things done. So Enrage and Overload, if I've got them. The month ended. We're back down to rank Leperknown at Standard. They've merged both Standard and Wild, sort of. Let's see. We can look at what is new, and I think for my Asian account, that's gonna just be, we got this gold common from a classic, which I have. Let's see. Well, I'm on my Asian account, which is the account to leave things alone, so I'm gonna just leave this card alone and keep the gold. This also we got, and these we also got. And then when I disenchant 3 of those, that'll get me just a small bit of dust. Let's see. We also have, let's see, what is this? Was Year of the Mammoth awarded for winning 5 games in March. So this is the new card back. Alright. I really didn't like this pink one as far as card backs. There's a ton of card backs we don't have, but I did see in an interview with Ben Brode, the main guy in charge of Hearthstone, he is going to introduce some way to start getting some of these card backs. Ideally, I'd also like some way to spend dust or gold to get some of these character skins. Alright, we're looking for Overload cards. Does this Custom Shaman 2 have Overload cards? No. Does this Overload deck have Overload cards? Okay, that's good enough to play for now. Overload deck, ranked play. We're going once again down the range, trying to get up ranked, and we barely made it up to rank 20 on 2 of the 3 accounts, and one of them I think didn't make it to rank 20. I'm also doing a genuine question of the day, asking people to get on the chat and tell me what games they're thinking about and playing today. And I really do want people to tell me their experience and how they're feeling about that, because I just woke up with today with that idea, and this is the first time I've ever done a question of the day. I don't think it's going to be a consistent thing, but I do want people to consistently talk to me about what games are happening. Like, particularly right now, this comes from a lot of Far Cry 5. Like, I want to know if people are playing Far Cry 5 and what they're experiencing of it compared to what I've seen the critics experiencing it. It's, the past week or two has been really, really odd. Just another step, I guess, towards my eroding of caring what the mainstream video game media has to say. And I really would much prefer to have normal people, fans, talk about games and what their experiences are. Let's see, Tragic Master came on and says, can't wait to get some of the card backs I was not around for. Some of them are pretty awesome. The thing that was implied there is it was going to be a lot of work. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's something that is pretty limited to get old card backs. Something along the lines of maybe you have to get to rank 20 now that there's really no reward for getting to rank 20. Maybe you have to get even to a higher rank. Or maybe if you win 5 ranked plays, you'll get in your monthly chest 1 random old card back as a potential prize. Hopefully one would assume that they wouldn't introduce some kind of trading aspect. I doubt they would do that with the card backs and not also introduce it with some card trading. So many scams would happen. So many scams would happen if they introduced card trading to it. That's another thing is like I heard some rumors that Magic the Gathering, people who actually play that, if anybody does play that, let me know, has gotten really bad about poor quality product, and people are just not happy with the latest expansion, with the cheaper card stock on the cards. So I would like to get a heads up there in case I ever did decide to switch from Hearthstone to a Magic the Gathering game. Same is kind of true with the Yu-Gi-Oh games. The Yu-Gi-Oh video games are never that great so far, so there's been no reason to move over to those. But on a bigger scale, since I only really know Yu-Gi-Oh from its first generation, I don't know anything about the later iterations, so the card game would be almost starting from the beginning all over again. I understand the general concepts, but most of the characters and cards would look brand new to me. But that really hasn't been a problem with Hearthstone. All of these cards are basically brand new to me. I started playing, well, I continued to play Darksiders 2, and boy, could that game have been better if it was made by a modern Ubisoft team. Like, they've made some major changes to Darksiders 2 to make it this, like, MMO in a single-player form game. So, they're trying to... Let's see. They're trying to very much excuse me. Sorry, I had to sneeze. They're trying to make it where in Darksiders 2 you run around this big open field that's in front of the middle of the map, and there's nothing in that field. And then to the left there is a kind of U-shaped bend of a long pathway, and there's a few twists and bends in that pathway that would make sense if you're gonna grind. There's like very few places where you could grind, and then so far I've seen like 5 dungeons in the whole game, and the dungeons aren't that big. The dungeons are odd because every single dungeon has holes, massive gaps in the roof, many places where there are invisible walls that just very unnaturally you feel like you'd be able to climb up places and leave the entire dungeon, almost as if it was trying to be a concept of a dungeon surrounded by a field, and you, as moving through the dungeon, you would exit through a hole in the wall, walk around on a cliff, and enter through another hole in the wall, which is actually a pretty genius idea now that I think about it, but that doesn't actually happen. So I can summon 3 copies next turn if this survives till next turn, which it probably won't. What's really crazy about Darksiders 2 is it says it has an in-game timer that says I've been playing the game for 7 hours, which seems about right. And then there's a secondary in-game timer that says how long you've been in combat, which you would assume that the main gameplay mechanic to the game is combat. Certainly was in Darksiders 1. You were doing all these combos, you were fighting big groups of enemies. The main criticism for the first Darksiders game is that there's just not enough gameplay there, enough dungeons. Here in Darksiders 2 it gets way worse. So 7 hours of total gameplay, 40 minutes have been in combat. The rest of it is very bad platforming with slightly wonky controls, and a massive amount of it is designed around you doing the Borderlands thing, but in a slow game where that really doesn't work. And the Borderlands thing is, what I mean by that is that you are very consistently going into your item inventory, you're picking up loot, you're comparing one loot item to another loot item. There's so many unnecessary stats in the game. And the game by default doesn't have auto-collect enabled, so you have to stand over items and decide if you want to equip it right then without going into the menu. However, it doesn't really work well if you don't turn on auto-collect, because picking up an item doesn't mark it as seen when you did look at it because you looked at it when you picked it up. And so then you still kind of have to go to the menu and look at it a second time. And if you don't have auto collect on, you don't automatically pick up health and will vials for no reason. It's not like the game is a co-op game. It's not like you need to leave those vials on the ground for any reason. I assume eventually despawn, although the game does seem to kind of just save things. It's a small enough collection of maps that it seems like you can. You get through the first dungeon and it tells you just to fast travel back to where you started the game. It doesn't even want you to walk backwards. It just says just fast travel. We know there's no game here, which really makes me wonder if Darksiders 2 would have worked a lot better if it had no transition areas at all, or very few like the first game, and instead relied very heavily on let's see, do we kill the one with spell damage? I guess we kind of have to, since we have nothing else to do. So yeah, if it had just been an action game where you were constantly moving from dungeon to dungeon, and the transition middle grounds that are the empty fields were gone, that would be interesting. Well, that did not move us any forward any for playing, getting ranked victories, but it doesn't matter. I imagine we may have to find a point where we have extra games to play and extra things that we need to do. We've never really run into a scenario like that where all the news has been done. Well, I mean, no, what do I mean to say? I've never been in a scenario where all the daily quests have been done and there was still gameplay that I needed to do with news. I don't know. Maybe there have been in that scenario and I just haven't realized it. I don't. Maybe I'm not awake as much as I thought I was. Seems to me like I'm rambling a little bit. It gets really hard to continue playing Darksiders 2. Particularly knowing that it's a game that wants you to play it multiple times through and get your level up to very high levels and then get higher level versions of the same weapons you've already seen. Meanwhile, there's a lot of places where you get very specific weapons that are either DLC weapons or weapons that would have been in the game and just handed to you in the first game. So I'm definitely hoping Darksiders 3 is all a continuation of Darksiders 1 and not what Darksiders 2 is at all. Like I don't think there's much of anything in that game that adds anything to it. It's just this like single player MMO that has way too few quests, way too few enemies, way too small of a landmass. Even when it came out, it was at that level. So I'm not even holding it to, I think, an unfair judgment. And when you compare it to Borderlands 1, it gets blown out of the way by the fast running and gunning motion and the much higher variety of weapons that you have in that. And my whole plan is to play Darksiders 2, kind of quickly get through with it, and get to Darksiders, get to Borderlands 2. I don't know if I'm going to get all the way through Borderlands 2 and the pre-sequel before potentially the Borderlands 3 gets announced or released, but I'm going to certainly try. Let's see. And that's kind of all I've been doing, but I have been doing better, and I want to give myself the tiniest of tiniest pat on the back that this weekend I spent most of this weekend playing games and getting footage recorded instead of just lying around watching TV or being tired and sleeping. Let's see, I'm scrolling down my Twitter feed just to see if there's anything new that happened before the announcement of my video. That way I know the right place to reset when we're done here. I do have a lot of tabs open, but I imagine a lot of these are not super news or super detailed news. Like, first story is the King of Fighters 97 global match launches April 5th. King of Fighters 1997, I assume, with online battles. The King of Fighters series of games is a fighting game, I believe. But it's like the Neo Geo least known fighting game in my head. It's certainly not Tekken, it's certainly not Street Fighter. All I can really see is this one image. But for people who are fighting game fans, I'm sure they'll be more than happy with the online playability. It's going to launch for the PS4, Vita, and PC on April 5th. See, Giant Bomb has a series that I don't really watch called The Ranking of Fighters, which I guess that is a joke, pun of King of Fighters. I may have just now figured that out. Yeah, I think I did. But if I was gonna go into fighting games, I would certainly want to try a lot of games, and they would be very short spotlights. Certainly, short spotlights from an idiot's perspective, from a noob's perspective to fighter games. And fighting games are probably, I would argue, the furthest away from any other style of gameplay that you can play in video games, because you are heavily penalized for in most fighting games from button mashing, and instead are actually asked to learn what the buttons do and use combinations, preload button combinations to activate combos that happen a few seconds after you press the buttons sometimes, instead of just an instant feedback of pressing A to jump. So yeah, there is a theoretical series at some point. Although, to be fair, my first series of Telltale games, I haven't fully finished that or caught up with that. I do want to get to... I have a couple Telltale games I think right now, and I do want to just kind of finish the Walking Dead series, and then kind of call it done. Like, some of the Batman stuff doesn't seem like it's high priority for me. I think the gaming community in general turned pretty hard on Telltale games after they continued to just release the exact same thing over and over again. First game we have released to Steam is called Clash of Cards. I haven't really done a lot of curation on bad games, but this isn't... there wasn't a ton that came out on April's Fool's Day, so maybe Valve decided to not let people publish games on April Fool's Day. That would have been a good move, honestly. There we go. That's useless. Let's see. It says it is a smart, honest, deep, hardcore collectible card game, free of annoying free-to-play restrictions. No pay to win, no timers, no energy bars. A pure intellectual challenge, no reviews. It's developed by several different people, and I imagine they are the only developers. Like, they've only developed this game. They want $34.99 for this game called Clash of Cards. So the idea of going into a card game and having, like, the ability with relative ease to collect the entire collection with not a huge guarantee that there's going to be steady updates. Has an all-time peak of 8 people. It's early access. It's really, really expensive, though. And we have like 6 reviews down at the bottom for early access, and 1 is negative. Then it is labeled as not in my language, but let's see. It says, at the moment I can't recommend this game. Too many bugs and completely unbalanced. It has potential, and there's early access. Maybe a lot of things will change in the future. I misread that. This game has a real, like, trailer video, but I'm seeing some graphics, particularly in the backgrounds, that don't strike me as the best of quality. The cards look alright, but the heroes all look very similar in art style. It seems like you have as many as 12 cards in your hand at one time, and it is a 5-2 lane, so there's 5 cards that can be at the back, 5 cards that can be at the front. It seems like they are all monster cards, as best as I can tell. Tons of abilities. Vampire immune, magical damage, deals damage to all foes. Health and armor and defense. It does feel like this is a real card game, but it feels like a real complicated card game made by somebody who's gonna then have to struggle with all the balancing issues, and then they're gonna have to struggle with making that work. Card games certainly aren't for indie developers. They just aren't. They're the opposite of a good idea. It says a single player multiplayer for an indie developer. It's just gonna bankrupt you. That's why Hearthstone works, is because it's got ZeniMax and Activision Blizzard behind it, making all the money in the world on World of Warcraft to fund a card game and have somebody draw 100 new animations every 4 months and add new ideas and do all the support and run all the servers. So while the only real criticism I can say is this looks like a standard complicated collectible card game, and I really like their sales pitch here, the graphics don't look that great, and there doesn't feel like there's going to be a bunch of adoption. So then the only way I could justify buying Clash of Cards which Clash of Cards is certainly just trying to sell on Clash of Clans. Yeah, the only way I could buy this game is if people reviewed it and said it has an amazing $35 worth of gameplay single player experience, which wouldn't be terrible. Like, I wouldn't it wouldn't be awful for me to continue to play Hearthstone and then for a pre-recorded series play a single player experience on some other card game and just be like, that's all I really need to spend my energy on, and I'm done at the end of that, say 30 or 40 hours of gameplay. Swery is back at it again with the good life. He's got now a walk around Rainy Woods tech demo gameplay. Let's see. Skip through this. It's just the lady that's the main character walking around an area. Like, the thing that is killing this Kickstarter for Good Life is not the fact that it looked bad. The graphics look a lot better, actually, than what I remember the last time he tried to get people to kickstart it. The problem is the idea is just too crazy. I think it's like a murder mystery or some kind of mystery in a city where people turn into cats, and you play as a woman, which that's not the biggest of issues, but it certainly is just going to be done weirdly by Swery, I'm pretty sure, because I would heavily guess Swery does not have a close, accurate insight onto a woman's life or a perspective on the world. It really feels like Swery just wanted to do a Lady Layton game and they wouldn't let him do it, and so now he's just pitching the same thing over and over again. Alright, so I only really need to play Enrage cards. We may have to make an Enrage deck. any new cards that are good. One rare. That being said, there's a chance that none of those were duplicates. Let's see, how many of those were duplicates? 2. I'm not gonna bother to look at the new ones. So we want Enrage, which would be Warrior. And do we not have any Warrior deck at all? Let's see, Shield, Murloc, Hunter, Death, Warlock, Pirate. I'm just gonna pick this Druid then and get rid of it. And do this Warrior and this, choose, and this. Enrage. Alright, now draw cards. And I'm gonna come back here and see if I can play more warrior cards. And do we have any more draw cards? That's close enough. Let's see. And continue playing ranked, trying to get 5 ranked wins. Next story we have from Gamatsu. A Magical High School Girl is coming to Switch. A roguelike RPG gets its first console release. Now the graphics here are not great. I guess you can't call it 8-bit pixel art. It's something closer to, I guess, the mythical 16-bit animation pixel art. It's really not much of a game. It would be something that I would just call an asset flip for the most part. You're this little witch in a witch hat that's wandering around what looks like very repetitive areas of outside a Japanese city and maybe inside this city, and you're just kind of dungeon crawling and fighting mushrooms and creatures. Guess I'm just gonna trade that one. Then you level up, and it seems to be turn-based fighting mechanisms. And there seems to be a shop. Some very basic things. I'd imagine what you would see in this game, and the fact that it's coming to the Switch, is it doesn't, in the trailer that I just skipped through, it doesn't have any of the modern, like, lewdness of an anime game. It's really family friendly type animations, although arguably there still are a lot of people around the world that still wouldn't let kids play a game because it has magic in it, but that number is certainly getting smaller and smaller with every day. So this seems like it is something that that will play well on the Nintendo Switch. It came out originally on November 2016 for iOS and PC, and it's on Steam. So let's see. It's rated 81% of 75 reviews in the past 30 days is very positive. Well, the graphics do look a little bit better in the Steam version. So this is an interesting thing because I guess I can wishlist this game and then I'll just probably never buy it. It's for $9.99. And actually play the game. Play the game. Let's see. The thing I would really want to know about a game like this, since it's is just how long this is. Because if this was a shorter experience in the 10-hour mark, that would be great. So I'm looking at the reviews right now and seeing if any of them, like one positive review is just meh, which that's not the kind of response you want. Let's see. It has some kind of spell concept in it that somebody doesn't like. Darksiders 2 has a limited Lemon Lovers typing something on the chat. Let's see. Lemon Lover, what would you rate your top 5 favorite games as? I'm very curious. Let's see. The top 5 is kind of hard because I'm a little tempted to say like the first game is almost certainly Borderlands, but then I'm not sure if I would just generally apply that to Borderlands and Borderlands 2, or if I would then have to make a decision. Do I give it to Borderlands 2 as my top one and Borderlands 1 as my second one? And then it gets a little bit weirder because I've never really thought about my favorite games in a list. So I'm a little tempted to give like the Ghostbusters video game honorable mention, because that certainly did something more than just make a game. It also continued the Ghostbusters movie series. If you had asked me a few years ago, I would have never mentioned like Punch-Out for the NES, but having recently played Punch-Out for the NES, I actually really do love that game, and boxing games in general, which is crazy because I would have never thought that. But yeah, I did play in Punch-Out for the NES. I also played Telltale Boxer. If I had a Super NES, I would have played Super Punch-Out. If I'd seen Punch-Out in the arcade, I would have played that too. But I don't know if I'd really make that my third game. And like, do I throw in the first season of The Walking Dead for its powerful story, or do I throw in Portal for its powerful story and gameplay mechanics? I think I would say Portal has got to be number 3. But then I'd have to ask the same question: do I generally give that to Portal 1 and Portal 2, or do I give it Portal 2 as number 3 and Portal as number 4? And if I do that, then I'm already the 4th, and I've really only named 2 series, which might be accurate and right to say. So maybe then I would put Punch-Out as number 5. Let's see. See if I can think of anything off the top of my head. And almost certainly, if you ask me in a year, I'll tell you completely different things, because I don't really go back to games, and having favorites doesn't work for media that you don't go back to. There are movie critics out there that love specific movies and watch them once a year. I don't do that. I don't go back and play Portal or Borderlands. Because I started my YouTube channel, I got an excuse to go back and play them, but generally speaking, I would have never gone back and played them a second time, even though I enjoyed them. It's just I want to always do something new. Bayonetta's got to be in there. So then I guess I have to put Bayonetta above the two Portals. So theoretically, the top 5 would be Borderlands 2, Borderlands 1, Bayonetta. I haven't played Bayonetta 2, or it probably would be in the list too. Portal 2, Portal 1, and then Punch-Out. Also, Punch-Out being very odd, outstanding choice because it's a much older game. And I imagine if I thought about it more, I could just continue to go down that road. It's a lot easier to list the games that aren't in my top anything, like games I've never played, where like Halo, never played it, any of the Call of Duty games, any of the first-person shooter games. That entire genre is unknown to me. Any sports game, entire genre is unknown to me. Fighter games I want to get into, but I haven't played any of them, so I couldn't say any of them or what I liked any of them. I wouldn't give my favorite game listing to anything that was a card game or probably a puzzle game. I probably should put out on a top 10 list if I was to expand from the top 5 to something along. I mean, I could probably expand to The Binding of Isaac and Plague Inc., some of the first games I played. I think The Binding of Isaac really did play a major role into getting me back into video games. Hearthstone by far is not going to get anywhere high on the list, but The Binding of Isaac is also a great example of a game that had a lot of content and a lot of updates, and I'm pretty much done with The Binding of Isaac at this point, so I don't think I'd go back and play it. Same is pretty much true for the Plague Inc. I like the Talos Principle. I liked Witcher 3. Witcher 3 probably deserves to be in the top 10, but it's just going to slowly get replaced. But the next game, the truth is, the top 5 list of my favorite video games is always going to be the next game that comes out that interests me, the next game that comes out that interests me, the next game that comes out that interests me, the next game that comes out to interest me, and the next game that comes out that interests me. It really is just that simple. I'm a fickle, greedy person when it comes to video game, and I want more. I want new knowledge and more information. I don't want to go back and play old things. So I hope that kind of leaves it. Lemon Liver goes, now you can combine, like the Borderlands series is one of them. So if I combined the Borderlands series as 1, Bayonetta or the Bayonetta series as 2, Portal is 3, I'd put out Punch-Out as 4, and I'm pretty sure I mentioned something else there. The Binding of Isaac is 5. I guess that would be a more varied game. Like, things certainly also are different year to year. That's why it's much better, in my opinion, to do a game of the year type conversation. Even in my weird case, when I do game of the years, it's the games that I played this year, and since most of the games I play are retrospective games looking back at older games, but even keeping it into any kind of limitation or any kind of category helps a lot. It's very, very easy to if you spent a lot of hours and a lot of time thinking about it, it's very, very easy to say the best game for that is available to play in every year might be just Super Mario Bros. 3. Like that is something I think a lot of people could argue. So you have to limit yourself to, did this game come out this year, or did you actually play the game that year? So yeah, I hope that answered it. In general, top lists don't help. It's better to get more information, particularly on my channel, particularly in the kind of content I create, because the content I create and the kind of games I play can often be a little weird. Let's just face it, and some of it's just not gonna be for people. Like when I think it's kind of funny to do a game like Honey Pop, that's gonna appeal to a certain type of people. But a lot of people are not gonna want to play Honey Pop, and they certainly aren't gonna want to use the uncensored patch to see the 12 nude scenes in it. Similarly, I could see people not being interested in a lot of the puzzle games I cover, and any number of other games. There was one person that looked at the playlist on my YouTube channel to see every game I've covered, and there's a playlist for everyone, except for Spotlights, where I only just did a short, like 1 30-minute video on it. Somebody looked at that playlist and goes, this group of playlists, this list of games you've covered, I don't recognize any of these games. And they were complaining like that was a bad thing. And people in the chat was saying, no, that's not a bad thing, that's a good thing. That means you found a channel to broaden your horizons. Like, I really am not here to run this channel just to try to be popular or gain a huge audience. I would like to get it to 1,000 subscribers. I would like to turn monetization back on. I would like to not have to become an e-beggar. I was thinking about earlier today the realisticness of starting a Patreon, which is still probably very unrealistic. But ideally, that would be where I'd like to go with it, is have a Patreon and maybe one skippable ad at the beginning of every episode. Maybe not even have that much. Just go, if Patreon really paid the bills successfully, just go with that. Like, I don't want to be, I don't have any delusions or even super desire to be one of these streamers that is playing Fortnite Battle Royale and getting $500,000 a month, or claiming they're getting that much. I don't want a sponsorship deal. I don't want merchandise stuff. I probably would do some of that stuff, although particularly sponsorships are something I don't want to do at all. I want to maintain my journalist integrity as much as possible. So mostly this channel was designed to be just a digital history of games I played and what I thought about them, so that somebody could potentially watch my channel decades after I've died, and like hopefully died of old age, but decades and decades of later, and they could still get something out of it and feel like they're having some kind of empathic experience where they're empathizing with me and learning something different. And like Siskel and Ebert, for instance, is a good example. Siskel and Ebert are both dead, I believe, now, but you could go back and look at their reviews of movies and have a relationship, a one-way relationship with them and their reviews. Let's see. Lemon Lover goes, I mean, I want Rydo merch, let's be honest. The thing about merch in particular is I want to be able to actually hire an artist who would do thumbnails and just keep up refreshes and consistencies of my logos and stuff like that. And then as a way of paying that artist, I was hoping that they would be able to set up and take most of the profits of the merch anyways. So maybe we could do something along the lines of 2/3 of whatever we get goes directly to the artist who would be doing a really good job, hopefully, of making all the thumbnails that really need to be made for all my videos that go out, because that is certainly a major reason why people don't click on my videos, is because I just don't have any thumbnails on them at all. So yeah, I was thinking about being mostly lazy on merch and just saying, if I ever found an artist who was willing to work straight on merch sales, or if I got to a point where I could pay an artist and have them take some of the sales of the merch, that's what I was thinking. Otherwise, if I tried to do merch right now, I'm literally just gonna have like my logos on a t-shirt or a mug or something, and for now people could easily just like save that image and try and post it on something, and you'll get not the greatest quality, I'm sure, doing that, but that would be the way. Merch does seem like it is a big deal for YouTubers. So it is something I think about not very often, like maybe once every 6 months or something. I just don't think I have enough memes, frankly. Let's see. Lemon Lover goes, died of old age. You can't be anywhere close to that yet, right? No, not really. Hopefully. Perhaps with technology, none of us will die of old age, because we'll just figure out how to extend the human life continuously. But that's where the long-term thinking certainly is wouldn't it be cool that if I could turn what has now been 4 years of efforts to make this YouTube work, wouldn't it be cool to be able to take that to the point where I retire or just get so old, so sick that I can not make any more footage? I mean, that's the ideal thing. It's kind of like marriage. There's two ways a marriage succeeds. Either one of the spouses dies or both of the spouses die, and thus you've had a successful marriage, or the marriage ends by divorce and then it fails. Like, that's the only way it happens. So the only way a YouTube channel succeeds in the long run is the content creator for that YouTube dies. Otherwise, it's a failure. They stop doing that and they go on and do another job. But no, I'm not. I'm not anywhere close to that. But I may be a lot closer to dying of some other random reason, certainly, but not. Uh, Not anywhere close to that. But I don't tell people my age. So Lemon Lover's next statement: late 20s is my guess, maybe early 30s. You've got plenty of time. And Lemon Lover said, "I buy a Rydo mug 100%." Hmm. Somebody did make a mug with just Rydo written on it, and it's like a RTIC mug that is this brand. I think that's the letters on it, and the mug looks so overly branded because of it. Because the RTCI mug is a metal, like coffee mug type thing that has RTIC stamped on it. The top lid is made out of clear plastic that has RTIC stamped on it. And what they did is they just put Rydo on the side of it. And they gave it to me as a gift, just like a maker person did it. But yeah, I don't know. Like, see, part of the thing is I just don't really think that highly of my brand and myself that I would want that. And also, it's kind of like wearing a t-shirt with your own face on it for me. So for the moment, since I don't have an artist, I would just say if somebody wants a Rydo mug and they think they can do it, just go illegally download and violate my copyright and download a picture and put it to one of those merch sites that makes those things. I imagine you'll get pretty properly ripped off with the price of everything. But I would certainly hope that people would be, once my channel gets a lot of subscribers and really supportive subscribers, that a Patreon would pay my bills before a merch store could happen. Although maybe that is the backwards way of doing it. Maybe I should just open a merch store first and then the Patreon later. Alright, moving on. This will be our last game for this recording too. If I remember, which I might. There's a Gamatsu April's Fool's Day 2018 compilation. Let's see. Bricks to Life had Lego The Watchmen announced for PS4. Well, I'm just no point in saying that a fake game was announced for consoles. It's a crazy idea because The Watchmen is certainly not kid friendly enough to do a Lego game, but that might be something that would bring more business to TT Games, as if they started having mature rated Lego games. And I think Lego The Watchmen would be a kind of funny game, although it would be hard to make enough levels of gameplay, because most of that story is an investigative noir detective drama and not an action based experience as much as you would think. Elder Scrolls Online, let's see, they said all combat abilities will be replaced with Elder Scrolls Legends cards in a deck. Let's see. Idea Factory International said the hunt begins for the this spring for the Beast Chaser Neptunia. Mysterious virus has supersized monsters of Gamadish. Use massive weapons to hunt them down. So I imagine this is a Monster Hunter reference from Idea Factory International. I don't even know who that is. Runer said a new expansion pack is coming. Team Meat said Ouya. Tiny Build said announcing Hello Neighbor Battlegrounds. Let's see. Bloodstained Ritual Knight said you'll have the ability to mine cryptocurrency. As April Fool's Day. I feel like every time I read something out here, I need to say this is an April Fool's Day joke. They said CD Projekt Red is seeking a designer of game environments to shake paws with a Doge, D-O-G-E. So they went with the dog thing. For a second there, I thought CD Projekt Red was going to hire a new boss and make fun of their bosses being jerks, but I think that would hit too close to home. DSO Gaming says Sony Interactive Entertainment titles are coming to PC, starting with Killzone Shadowfall, The Order 1886, and Horizon Zero Dawn in 2018, and God of War in 2019. See, that's just painful. That's just a painful joke, because those are all probably games you'd really want to come to PC. Dungeon Defenders says they've announcing Dungeon Defenders 2 Tower Royale. A lot of April Fool's Day jokes where their games are turning into Battle Royale games. Eurogamer rebranded as Spyro Gamer, talking about Spyro the Dragon. Minecraft updated with some awful textures. Let's see. Overkill Software said they had a 10 episode Payday the Animated Series announced. PlayAsia, a leaked roster for some new characters and for Super Smash Brothers, and it's a bunch of the PlayAsia characters, mostly Chinese, Japanese fighter characters. R/Games says had a Cyberpunk 2077 review thread, giving everything a 10 out of 10, 100 out of 100. RPG Fan says Square Enix and Electronic Arts are teaming up for FFIFA 18 Vox Nihil, a Final Fantasy and FIFA crossover. Stoic Studio had a video of newly discovered Banner Saga footage. Let's see, some of these include videos, and like this Banner Saga footage seems to be not much. Ubisoft North America had a Boomer dog toy announced, which that seems like that was something you could actually do. This is the problem with a lot of these these April Fool's Day jokes, is that half the ideas are decent ideas that somebody's gonna want. Let's see, Video Game Art and Tidbirds has a blurb from EGM talking about Dragon Ball Z Battle for Earth, which was supposed to be released in 1993 but never was. Wii U.Pro has a Hello Neighbor amiibo action figure of the creepy neighbor. Let's see, Alpha System has a shoot 'em up announced game called the Walking Shinigami for Switch and PC. Arc System is announcing Blaze Blue Tag, where a colorful cast of Blaze Bear takes part in a global game of tag with deadly consequences. Let's see, how much more of this is there? Ooh, there's a lot more. there's a lot more of this stuff. And let me just see if I can skim here. We're going to have to move over to the European account. Sadly, we're not going to get too far up in the ranked. Is there anything here that really needs to be mentioned as an Easter egg? No, I think I've given a general idea of the stupidness of April Fool's Day. It just irritates people that might have actually wanted some of these ideas and tells you, ha, this is never coming out. It wastes your entire day. For people who spend most of their life on the internet, like me and like a lot of people do, probably to their detriment, there's just like having an entire day where you know people are intentionally lying is way worse than the internet by default, where you only have to look with a critical eye and suspect most people are lying. Let's see, what is this one? Guerrilla Games has a Horizon Zero Dawn Nil body pillow. Nil being the male character, I believe, from Horizon Zero Dawn. A lot of the Japanese companies put a different spin on it, but they certainly did get into it too. They're making like dating simulators announcements for their fighting games. Like New Japan Pro Wrestling has an Pokemon Eevee announcement. There was a general one of using 1.1.1.1 IP address for your DNS as a joke, which I did not look like a joke at all. And so I'm afraid people are actually going to set that up as their DNS account and then find that it doesn't work today. Let's see. Yeah. There's a huge amount of things here. I just scrolled down. I don't know. How do you quantize the length of a web page? Well, I would say 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. This feels like if I printed it out and looked at all these Easter eggs, there's at least 30 pages of paper would be used to print out all of these. A lot of that certainly is, each of these is getting a sentence or two, and then most of them have a picture or a video attached to them completely. Another one was the, let's see, vanishing of Ethan Carter or creators, or what remains of Edith Finch creators. Yeah, it was the what remains of Edith Finch creators made a old point and click adventure image that that makes it all look like an old like Scum Maniac Mansion type game with all the commands at the bottom. Lego came out with the vacuum sort, which that's not video game related, but it's a vacuum that supposedly sucks up Lego pieces and cleans them off and dusts them and then sorts them into different colors. Alright. Well, that's going to be it for this recording. Stay tuned if you're watching live. We've got somebody on the chat that's just scratching his chin with an emoji. Hey, Mark. That's it for this recording. As always, stay tuned if you're watching live. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description. If you want to support me, gift me something on Steam. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening. Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we are back with another recording of Hearthstone. Today is Monday, April 2nd, and we are going through the European account now. Let's see if we can trade something out. What do we want to trade out? Minions that cost 5 or more, or 2 or less. Let's get rid of 5 or more, which means keep the 2 wins, which would honestly, that was a bad decision because now I have 2 wins on something and 2 wins on something else. Let's see if we can find a Murloc deck to play and hop right in. Now, Sunday was April Fool's Day, so that's going to affect our ability to tell the truth so much. Since all my news comes from the internet, it's possible that some of this is going to fall through and turn out to be wrong. Paladin will work if I play as this Paladin Murloc deck, and the month has ended, so we want to get back up to rank 20 if we can. I spent the last recording covering the April Fool's Day jokes, or some of them, giving kind of just a brief sampling of all the video game related April Fool's Day's jokes. I really don't enjoy April Fool's Day. It is just a complete and total wasted day for somebody who spends a lot of time getting their information on the internet. And because it was a Sunday, I think that helped Steam not really have any games come out. I doubt too many people are going to spend $100 for an April Fool's Day joke to put a game on Steam Direct, but people certainly do put terrible games on Steam Direct all the time for that fee. Speaking of games, who knows if it's terrible or not, we've got another game that came out April 1st called Shapestorm, and it looks like it is maybe an asteroid game, or maybe it is just a collection of a bunch of shapes on the screen with no reason or rhyme, as far as I can tell. It says navigate the storm of shapes to collect the glowing orbs. It has no reviews. It's 99 cents. It's funny. It's the only game by this developer called PC Cakes, and the publisher is labeled as self-published. So they didn't even fill out the form correctly, and Steam still let them in. Wow. Yeah, nothing here for this game. I'm gonna have to learn to not spend any time whatsoever on games that just don't matter. Because when there are a lot of games to talk about, spending that extra 5 seconds on every single one to say, oh yeah, it has no reviews and all of that, that's it. Let's see. Now, I don't believe this is an April Fool's Day story, but it did happen on April Fool's Day, so I'm not sure. But PC Gamer has an article that says the CSGO commentator Sadokist, Sadokist, has been suspended from Twitch after using racist language. He also told another member of the community to kill himself in a live stream on Friday night. So, I am, again, maybe this is all a joke. It seems like it's not a very funny joke, if it is, because it doesn't seem like it's obvious. and that's a problem. Like, jokes should be obvious that there's jokes. That's why stand-up comedy is a very good venue to do jokes in, and probably the best and only good venue to do jokes in these days. It says during the Friday night stream, Trivet used the N-word to taunt while taunting a friend. The full stream is unavailable to watch, but the clip was immediately posted to social media. You can view it here. So I guess So I mean, I guess I'm taking this as a serious story. So I don't know, like I guess you take it as it is. I don't watch Counter-Strike Go, so I don't even know if this guy's a real person. I did see a non-video game related YouTube video on April Fool's Day that seemed like somebody was talking about something that never actually happened. Just like a fake scandal that he had just made up as an April Fool's Day joke, which again, it only makes sense if you have such a accurate grasp on the scene, for in this instance like the Counter-Strike Go scene, to know for a fact that A, this person doesn't exist, or B, they would never do that, or it didn't happen. Moving on, the Castle Disaster came out April 1st. It has one review. Imperium Games is the publisher. They have it 40% off for 59 cents. And let's see what this game looks like. It looks like an MS Paint top-down real-time strategy game with really, really bad graphics. I don't know why people do this. Video game developers' bar for quality is just way lower. Way lower than people who buy the games, who actually buy the games, bar for quality should be. So the one review I have is labeled as not being in English. So is this a new thing that they're doing where they are developers are labeling things as not being in English to hide bad reviews? It's like the negative review here goes, is it a strategy? No. Is it an adventure? No. Is it a clicker? No. Is it a simulation? No. Is it a game? No. What is it then? An achievement spammer. And see, that's more confusing here, is that this game didn't immediately stand out as an achievement game. And only when I look now and see that it says it has 999 Steam achievements, now do I realize why people might buy that. Like, I still don't get why people want to have thousands and thousands of unearned and unimportant achievements. Particularly because the end goal of this is probably going to turn into Steam removing achievements from people and just hiding them from achievement spamming games. Next game we have, which looks like it is a real game, is called Epistory Typing Chronicles, EPISTORY. It came out March 30th. It's rated very positive, 95% of 66 reviewers. It's from a developer that also made, let's see, well, nothing really that I see. How do I have this game in my library already? Why do I own this game? Is this a free-to-play game? No, it isn't. So why is it in my inventory? I must have bought this when it was on sale earlier. Interesting. It's always weird to wander across a game that you already own. Let's see. I don't even know what I'm trying to do. I think I'm trying to get victories. So what kind of game is this, since I have it and should probably play it? I think it's a typing game. Ah, yes, it is a typing game. You are sort of doing a tower defense riding a fox. It looks like you're riding a fox and running from area to area. And typing seems to build the world up and defeat enemies, and so every action is done by typing. This actually looks like the best typing game I've seen so far. And I already have it, so I should check it out. For anybody else that wants it, it's 66% off for $5.09. Jeez, I wonder what I paid for it. Maybe I got in a humble bundle or something. Let's just keep on playing. We still need victories. We still need to play things that cost 5 or less, or whatever, 2 or less. Let's see. One recommended view for Epistory says the gameplay was already beautiful, but the ending was so moving. The game is so much more than you would expect from a typing game, and it certainly does look like that. However, I am, to be fair, feeling like I'm being really, really positive for a game because I already own it. Let's look at the 100 negative reviews compared to the 2,495 positive reviews. Let's see. Here's a negative review. I'll keep it short. The game determines the language used for your words automatically. I'm assuming it's based on your regional setting rather than the OS language or any other setting. That by itself wouldn't be so bad, but the words are entirely made up, sometimes using some familiar base, which made the whole experience surprisingly annoying for me. Interesting. Here's a negative one. Got bored halfway through. Had to force myself through the story. Should have played that one to finish the game. So the negative reviews, I think, for the most part, might be from like an early access version of this game. Like, saying the words are made up is just wrong, because I'm seeing English words like germ and wipe and in the screenshots, and so maybe that was an early access thing, or maybe it was a different language thing. So I'd say, yeah, go check out Epistory if you're looking for a typing game. We always kind of need a typing game. If you've got anybody that needs to learn to type or improve their typing. Not a lot of typing goes on these days, certainly, since people are on their cell phones, and I find it often very helpful to just use the voice input on the cell phone. But if you want to work a job where typing is involved, you're probably going to have to be able to touch type pretty well. So programming jobs, journalist jobs, things like that. Um, Lots and lots of jobs could certainly be sped up just with the ability to improve things. Hearthstone had an April Fool's Day joke where they changed the descriptions on all the cards to just Murgles that these Murlocs make. It's pretty obvious joke, but it works. Let's hit that. Let's see. PC Gamer has an article that says Mike Dies is a game about a fatal teleporter accident. This came out 5 days ago, so I doubt it's an April Fool's Day joke. And it looks like a sort of poorly animated platformer game, action platformer. Metroidvania is supposed to come out. The problem with it is it just doesn't look good. So I don't see why I'd want to play this game. And so often PC Gamer feels like they're just advertising games instead of critically looking at games that have come out and might have been hidden gems. Let's see. Let's keep on hitting this. Let's see. For the past, like, this game came out February 23rd, 2018, and it says it has 100% positive reviews. It's selling for $14.99. A patch went live March 13th. Let's see. Really? No negative reviews at all. That is suspicious. That is very, very suspicious to have a game that has 22 positive reviews and no negative reviews. And a lot of these positive reviews, often positive reviews are products we'll receive for free. And the level of quality implied here does not meet with the level of quality in the animation. Yeah, I can't wishlist this game, Mike Dies. It's not a good name either. Like, it seems like it's just trying to rip off that movie, John Dies at the End, which was an interesting movie. Not, I won't say actually good, but interesting at least to watch once. Just nothing here, nothing whatsoever that justifies it being talked about or justifies it being wishlisted. Let's see. What is this? When did this come out? This came out April 1st, so it might be an April Fool's Day joke by Gamatsu. It says Reasoning Adventure Game Buddy Collection is, I believe, is what it says. It says if coming to the Switch this spring in Japan. So unless there's a series that I've never heard of called Reasoning Buddy, which it says you make buddies and solve gruesome murders. This seems like this is an April Fool's Day joke. Yeah. But if it is an April Fool's Day joke, there's a decent number of pictures that somebody either copied from some other game or actually made. I don't know. Best I can say is keep your ears out for a game called Reasoning Buddy. And see if that gets to the West, and if it gets to the West with that name. Let's see. This I know is an April Fool's Day joke. Path of Exile is a battle royale game for April Fool's Day. No, really. See, that's part of the problem with playing a practical joke in your game, because for the people that don't want to play it and just wanted to play their game, for people like me that need to make pre-recorded footage, if I go on to any online game and it happens to have April Fool's Day changes to it while I'm making pre-recorded footage for content that won't be seen for 6 months, that does not work well at all, and it might require me to change the clock on my computer just to get away from it, and then that sometimes causes problems. Let's see, here we have another April 1st announcement. Arc System Works announces Dungeon RPG Wizard Symphony for PS4 and Switch. This looks a little too polished to be a joke. It looks like it is a dungeon RPG. I didn't think the Japanese got so much into April Fool's Day, honestly, but it seems like the video game section of the Japanese world at least are getting into it now. See, Your Gamer has an article of Outlast 2 on Switch compared to the PlayStation 4. Ever since Your Gamer changed their website and looks differently, I really hate it. Let's see. The final paragraph says, ultimately Red Barrel's effort here on Switch are impressive and the port works. It's a good example of a developer intellectually cutting back the graphical features without unduly compromising the core aesthetic. So it's just kind of the basic things that you would know from the beginning, is that yeah, Outlast won't look as good on the Switch as it did on a PC. Nothing ever will. But if you put a lot of effort into it and you're careful, you can get a decent version of your game on the Switch. Something playable. Speaking of Switches, I went to the local Toys R Us to see if perhaps, even though the Toys R Us right now, at least it seems, Toys R Us are only doing up to 30% off, and things like Legos are only 5% off, and most things in the store are actually only 10% off, which is not really a discount at all. You can very easily buy 10% more things to not save any money in a going out of business sale. But I went there, walked around just to keep an eye on it, see how much inventory is actually there. In comparison, the Baby RS next to it was at its very last day, and they were moving the shelves at the same time. They were moving the shelves out and emptying the place, and they did make it to 90% off, but it went from like the last 2 weeks. 2 weeks ago it was 60% off, and there was a decent collection at 60% off of more babyish toys. But but 90% off, everything was gone. Everything was gone except for, oddly, cards, because I imagine there's just a huge inventory of like birthday, anniversary cards, things like that, that they had extra, things that could have sat on the shelf forever, if Babies R Us had stayed in business. But I went to the Toys R Us seeing if maybe I could get a Nintendo Switch for 10% off. I mean, that would probably be as good a discount as you're ever gonna get. They're all gone, at least in my store. So I imagine if there was ever any discount at all, some owner of a GameStop or a independent used game store would have swooped in there and purchased them on the cheap. So yeah, I was kind of hoping that maybe I could get a 30% off, 50% off a Switch, get some games, play some of the Nintendo games, just for my own personal entertainment, and not feel too bad about not making any content for Nintendo stuff, because you can't put Nintendo footage online without them claiming all of it. Although right now, I guess, since they kicked me out of the YouTube Partner Program, and all the small YouTubers out of the YouTube Partner Program, now might be the perfect time to just make a bunch of Nintendo content. So I plan to go back to Toys R Us in 2 weeks and see if they've gotten up to 50% or 60% off at that point, and just keep an eye on it. I wouldn't be super surprised if I don't time it perfectly and actually don't get any kind of discount or buy anything from the Toys R Us going out of business. Moving back to video games, there's a game called Minit, M-I-N-I-T, that is out, and it's being published by Devolver Digital, but it's being very under advertised. It's this black and white looking, I don't even know what you call it. It's I think an RPG where you only play for 60 seconds at a time. So maybe that's the deals, that they just got a very light publishing agreement with Devolver Digital, and it's not that much of a game. That might explain it. Apparently it's supposed to come out on April 3rd, so I opened this a little early. It's not even out yet. I still don't really think you'd want to play this game. Well, I mean, you could certainly spend 60 seconds on it and play it, and very possibly you could spend 60 seconds on it, play it, have your fill of it, and refund it for being too short. Which is a weird thing to do, certainly, but I think as a consumer, we really are going to have to start punishing developers that make too short of games. If your game is not 2 hours long, doesn't get me to play it for 2 hours, then I should just refund it and get my money back, because let's face it, times are tough, and this is and extra spending on things is not an easy thing to do for a lot of people. I'm looking at a game called The Lonely Gorilla that came out April 1st from Thunderground Games. That's the only game they've made. It's 40% off for $5.39. Now what's funny here is, unless this is an April Fool's Day joke or a fake game or it has stolen video, there's a real trailer here that looks good. So this doesn't just feel like it's a Harambe joke game. This feels like you really are going to play as a gorilla. You really are going to have the experience of being in a area, kind of desertish, but it's kind of more of a grassy plain area, and there's animals running around. There's trees, there's large grasses, and while a gorilla is not the biggest predator ever, it would assumedly the gorilla at some point is going to have to eat something from somewhere. Honestly, you're playing as what I think they call silverback gorilla, which doesn't. Yeah, they describe him as a silverback gorilla, which I don't believe belongs in this environment. I think silverbacks are more in the Congo deep rainforests. Let's see. Controls on a screenshot. Life bar. You know what this might be is a survival simulation that at least has a interesting twist on it, where your only real goal is to wander around an area and get food and water, but the twist will be in this instance that you are a gorilla, and so you should act somewhat accordingly. Alright, let's scroll down and see if we can get something more. It's an early access game for a really expensive amount. Scroll down to what the reviews say. Let's get rid of all of these. Let's see. Like, one not recommended. Let's see. The game is very old and it can't be sold at a and it even can't be sold at beta stage. I like animal simulators very much, but it doesn't have a way to compare to Saurin Beta, SAURIAN Beta. The keyboard is useless, even if you've already said it. The scare action has 3 buttons, but is the same and has no sound. This is not a well-worded description at all. That's like one of the recommended early access reviews got edited from negative to positive because the developer was responsive, apparently, which I don't think is a very valid reason to change your edit. Game is very early access. The game is very early access. That's all any of these are saying. There's 3 positive reviews and 1 negative. And this is just too expensive a game from a first-time developer, as far as Steam is concerned, to spend that much money. It looks like it's probably an asset flip that is at least doing an asset flip the right way. There's effort here, there's thought here. There's no crazy Roblox block zombies running around. But you really would need to write some kind of story, have some kind of experience. I don't think a gorilla simulator on its own makes a good game. And again, April 1st game, so it might be an April Fool's Day thing. Let's see, destroy this or do this. I can't even do this. If I play this, I lose, so I might as well just play it. PC Gamer has an article, XCOM meets stealthy RPG in a seriously cool Mutant Year Zero Road to Eden, which we've seen the trailer for this game. Doesn't have any new information for them to talk about. Still trying to play cards and get victories, and right now we're not getting victories, so let's switch over to casual play and not even try to get ranked victories, because I'm not sure how many news stories I really have to talk about, particularly when PC Gamer is just going to talk about games that have no announced dates and nothing else to have nothing new to really say. Here's a game called Burak, B-U-R-A-K space Bahar, B-A-H-A-R apostrophe S, Unseen Anchor. And Burak Bahar is the creator. It's 20% off for $1.59, and it is a video game developer students flying space shooter game with MS Paint graphics. Why give such a nice name to a game that looks so bad? Seriously. This is the only game they put on Steam. Valve apparently has figured out how to stop people from flooding Steam with games, but hasn't figured out how to stop people from flooding Valve with games. By which I mean that individual people are still flooding Valve with their first game. But I have, ever since I started looking a couple weeks ago at every single game, I've yet to see more than 3 or 4 people try and release 5 or 6 games at the same time. It's always just one person. And who knows, maybe there are organizations out there making fake names and releasing games under different information. That almost certainly is happening. But yeah, at least Valve is doing something, or trying to do something. There's no reason why you'd want to play this super simple game. No reason why you'd want to pay for it. Let's see. Next game we have is called Golf Cart Drive. It came out April 2nd. It looks like a asset flip where you're driving a golf cart with some very poorly animated jump ramps and just seems almost randomly placed assets as far as golf carts, and there's backgrounds, looks horrible. There's a house that looks horrible. You're driving over the water in the cutscene, or through the water, a very shallow water. They want $3.99 for this game. There's no reason why you'd buy this game. And this is from the developer that made Hovercraft Drive and Skyscraper Climb and Future City Coaster and Yacht Simulator, and I think PC Gamer's been talking about Yacht Simulator, and that may have emboldened this fake game maker in a poor way. That's not good. Nope. Move on to the next game. I've got one called Frol Block, F-R-O-L space B-L-O-K. No reviews. First game by this developer, it seems. 15% off for $8.49. All these prices are way too high. Very consistently having issues with this. And for a block, what kind of game is this? Indie adventure cinematic. So it seems almost like Myst-esque game. you pick up items and can look at them. Maybe you can carry them with you. I'm not sure. It looks like it's a VR game though, so it might just be wandering around and picking up items and looking at them and then putting them back down. It requires let's see. It says Froblock is a quest room that's inspired by old school quests. Stuffing that is made out of non-linear story, narrative, and charismatic protagonists. Let's see. What do I want to do? Let's hit this. And hit this. And hit that. They say it's a small game, but if you like it, the story will be continued. Yeah, promises. So this kind of does look like an attempt at doing some kind of Myst like VR game. I wouldn't be surprised if Froblock gets talked about. If it's good. It's hard to say though, because who's gonna put in the $8.50, $8.49 to play this game on their VR system, and then come back and review it? And it's only the HTC Vive support, no Oculus Rift support, which that certainly doesn't help anything anyways. Alright. Let's play this. Do this. And end the turn. Let's see. Gamatsu has an article. Danganronpa. 1 and 2 Steam sales top 200,000. So to celebrate that, Danganronpa Volume 3 has been added to the Steam bundle. That should have been in the Steam bundle from the beginning. So for now if you buy all 3 of them for 10% off, you get $89.97. You can get all 3 of those games. Danganronpa is a popular, known Japanese game. That I guess is getting a little bit of success, but not a ton of success. When you know it's a niche product, it's only getting 200,000 sales for something like Assassin's Creed Origins would mean that Ubisoft would go out of business practically. But it makes these games are made on a budget, so they know what it has, what it costs them. Let's see. There's also Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc, Danganronpa 2 Goodbye Despair, and Danganronpa 3 Killing Harmony, which are available separately for the PS4 and Vita. Let's hit that. Let's see. Was Brave Witches VR, Gamatsu has an article, Brave Witches VR Operation Baba Yaga, now available for the PlayStation VR Japan. Brave Witches is this kind of weird anime where these anime schoolgirls have airplane jet legs and they fly around shooting guns. It's a really weird, crazy combination of things, and you can get this game on Steam, but the English language is not supported. I imagine you could probably still figure it out, but I wouldn't go down the route of playing a non-language supported version of something. Let's see. continue down. Dragon Quest Builders 2 has some first details, so that's not really much of anything. It's just got some screenshots of the two main characters, a male and female character, both in cowboyish, like rancher getup, clothing, and it looks very much like an attempt to be like Minecraft, this game, except for you're fighting slimes. And maybe there will be more story here, but this really looks like a direct cut and paste copy of Minecraft. Let's play this. And let's do this, and then this, and this, and that, and that, and that. Yeah, I guess that's not really new, so I don't need to talk about that. There's a game that's on sale called Boxing Fighter Super Punch, which looks like, yeah, bad graphics, sort of trying to ape 8-bit style or 16-bit style. It's a low resolution graphics that could be a little bit better. And it's 30% off for $1.39, and it's not as much a boxing game as it is a cell phone port. It looks like of a tapping rhythm game. So this could work. There's certainly ways this could work, but let's go ahead and hit this, and this, and then hit this. And then let's go ahead and hit that. I'm just gonna keep an eye and wish list on this game. It has had an all-time peak Boxing Fighter Super Punch of 2 players, so I'm gonna keep an eye on it, but I don't know. This game came out November 25th, 2017, and nobody's ever played it. So maybe now that it's on sale, it'll get a little bit of feedback. But I could also see nobody still doesn't play it. Next game we have is called The Take. It's from Studios, according to what they filled out. 15% off for $8.49. Too expensive. It looks like it is a VR game where you pick up and throw things, and whenever anything moves too fast, it does a comic book bam, boom, poof, pow type sound. Maybe you're looking for something like... The Take is a local hot seat VR game where 2 players assume the role of a competing spies in the golden age of comic books, racing against the clock to hide and seek classified intel while setting or avoiding traps. Well, at the very least, that is a kind of original idea. Let's go ahead and kill this one. And kill this one. And let's hit this one. And this one. And this one. And then the turn. It does require a new third-party end-user license. It also requires VR. Another VR game that's over expensive. And see, this might be cool, but being VR, I'll never try it, and it doesn't seem like it's more than 5 minutes. And that's the problem with all VR games, is that you really only have about 30 minutes of gameplay in you before you're going to get tired and want to sit down. Unless you are some kind of military trained person who stands for 8 hours with no bit of discomfort whatsoever and actively does things like that. Most people prefer to sit down, tend to sit down, don't have enough energy to sit down. Like, don't get me wrong, I could probably do VR for about an hour, but I would probably only do it for about an hour a day. Let's see. Well, we're slowly making progress. Next game we have is a game called Levantera. Levantera. Tales of the Winds. It came out April 2nd. It has 1 user reviews. It looks a lot like an NES game. I really, really like an NES game. Which that might work. So it looks very much like Zelda 2 type game, except for you're playing as a pirate, it seems. Has this company made any other games? They made something called Mini Law Ministry of Law before that. Also, it's reviewed positive. 89 of 48 reviews in the last 30 days are positive. And it's early access. It's 40% off, but 40% off for $5.99. So it's just like too expensive. Again, like, they're also claiming they won the Taco Bell Indie Game Garage Inaugural Alumni Award. Like, this is crazy because I really do want to wishlist this game, but I'm totally not going to ever buy it at this price. I'm going to just wishlist it. Thank goodness for the new filtering ability when sales come out. So you can just filter out early access games, because that means you can now wishlist a lot more things and then never actually buy any of them. I would like a little bit more controls. Let's see. Moving on to the next story. Sorry, I got a little quiet there. PC Gamer has a article, boss fights good or bad. This is certainly a clickbait article as much as you could guess. And I guess they are asking some famous people or video game designers. some of these people that responded are saying boss fights are bad. That is not. I mean, you really can't make that argument in my head. Like, I just don't agree with it at all. Boss fights are kind of critical. A major part of video games. You need to have boss fights. Even, sure, I will fully admit that there have been a lot of games that have done boss fights very poorly, but to say a poor implementation of anything means that the concept itself is bad is just flawed logic. Like, there's plenty of poor implementations of types of government around the world that doesn't inherently mean that the concept of the type of government is flawed. It could just be other circumstances. So that's really a clickbait article. We'll move on. The game War for the Overworlds is getting its final expansion this month, which makes me think that they're pretty much abandoning adding anything to this game. And I know there was a couple of Dungeon Keeper clones, and the War for Underworld was certainly one of them, or War for the Overworld was certainly one of them. So it feels like maybe if this is the one that was always early access and never really finished, like a final product deserving how much they were asking for it, that this might be the final nail in the coffin telling me to just don't buy it. War for the Overworld on Steam is 75% of 29 users in the last 30 days rated it positive, whereas 79% of 3,259 users rated it positive overall. It is already on my wish list, and there's some DLC built into it, so if you're going to buy the whole thing, it would be 10% off for the massive amount of $50.36. If you just buy the default game, it's $29.99, all of which are really, really expensive. So it has a Metacritic rating, it says, of 65, which is pretty low for a game. Yeah, I'm thinking at such a high price, it's really, really hard to justify buying the game. Once it's finished, it starts to make a little bit more sense than it still being getting updates, but honestly, that also hurts it, because a lot of people, not me, but a lot of people would justify purchasing an unfinished game under promises of more development. If the developer has said we're done, then who knows, and they don't have any other game. Bright Rock Games, the developer of the War for Overworld, they don't have any other games on Steam, so maybe they're stepping back to work on a new game. Maybe they're stepping back to make a sequel. I guess that's slightly believable. What's this card do? Yep. I imagine there's a good chance that I'll forget or conveniently forget to play the War for the Overworld. PC Gamer has an article. Twitch clarifies its community guidelines after Ninja's slur. Intent matters is the subtitle. Let's see. Now this is yet another one of those stories, I guess, And this wasn't April Fool's Day. This was 12 hours ago, which would have put it, let's see, I don't think. And they're saying Ninja said a bad word, a racial slur in the middle of a song where it wasn't used. Keep on playing. The end of this article is, so it's still not all that clear. Luckily, the path to avoid suspension, although luckily the path to avoid suspension is an easy one. Don't use racial slurs. Man, PC Gamer, you are the last linchpin of news people that I'm still following that talks about this stuff. And I'm not sure if you really should be talking about it. Like, I'm sure on Twitch somebody says something nasty every hour on the hour, at least, if not 10, 20 times an hour or 500 times an hour. People say nasty things all the time. A lot of times they don't mean it, a lot of times they do. You just gotta move on. It's part of my grow up rant. You just need to grow up and not make a big case about it. Let's see. Gamma Sutra has an article, My Game Design Degree a Postmortem. It's a editorial blog by somebody who just got a game design degree, and they're looking at it and seeing how useful that really is. One damage and draw a card. I should have played this first. Oh well. The conclusion to the article is obviously there's only so much I can fit into a blog, but I didn't even mention the school system should model themselves as services and not businesses. That would be nice. How come I only got one bonus pack there instead of two? Seems like the glitches now decided to go the other direction. We've got a new card back we can enable. Let's see. The final paragraph is, if you're a student and want to connect to chat about school advice or game development, you can always find me at Twitter and talk to him. Like, ultimately, I'm of the opinion there's good to be had in game design education and equal parts bad. So it's medium is his final determination. That's pretty bad. That you spent thousands and thousands of dollars getting a game design degree and 4 years, and the best you can say is that it was part good and part bad. That is not good. Here, we'll disenchant that for some dust. And we'll go ahead and make this our new favorite. And where are we going? Well, I'm not sure how much longer. Like, I still got a lot of tabs open, so I've still got a lot of stuff to talk about, but it might be a lot of redundant stuff too. And we've gone for another 45 minutes, so that's going to be it for this recording. Stay tuned if you're watching live. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. If you want to support me, gift me something on Steam. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening. Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back with another recording of Hearthstone. Today is, let's see, Monday, April 2nd, so we're in the shadow of April Fool's Day. That's going to affect a lot of our news. We're going through the news kind of slowly. Let's play 50 Mage cards and 50 Druid class cards. Let's see if we've got that. We also have a new card back, so... do I want to stick with the candle? I guess I will. And mage cards. If I'm playing classic mage, how much of this is how many of these are mage cards? Let's just play classic mage and try that out. Because that was our system to try and get higher ranked. Let's see, rank 24, classic mage, begin. Let's see, and start covering the news. I'm going to try and rush through the news a little bit faster than what I've been doing. So PC Gamer has an article, GDDR6 memory production may point to NVIDIA launching new graphics cards this summer. It could be several months before NVIDIA releases its next round of graphics cards. I mean, they always release them at the same time, so any speculation that anything is going to change there is kind of crazy. They always release them, I think, around the first of the year. Not January 1st, but the first couple months of the year, which then puts you in a weird position because you've probably already spent a bunch of money on other things, and then unless you were saving up money, you can't afford a expensive $400, $500, $600 game. Well, not game, but $400, $500, $600 video card. That's what I meant to say. Let's see. The odd sort of sequel to a very odd game that came out a long time ago called The Lost Child. That's the current game. Is going to come out in North America on June 19th and June 22nd. And it will launch physically for the PS4 and Switch. What was the name of the game that it's a sort of sequel to? It's something like Enoch Legend of the Metatron. Is sort of the sequel, although the game seems like it's completely different. The animation looks like it's completely different. The gameplay style seems like it's completely different. But I think there's some weird connection. Moving on, I guess. Shanti Half Genie Hero Ultimate Edition will launch May 8th in North America. Let's see what it's coming out for. The Nintendo Switch. So it's already... there's like no real Ultimate Edition, physical edition that you could get for PC. And so if you get the Switch, you're getting an art box and a soundtrack and an art book and limited edition type stuff. Limited edition type stuff that's not really that limited. Owlboy is coming out for the PS4, Xbox One on April 10th. A physical edition for the PS4 and Switch on May 29th. I've relatively recently played Owlboy, so maybe that'll get me a few more views since these games came out. I didn't really like it, honestly. It seemed like it was overhyped and highly critically acclaimed for not doing that much. A game called Chasm, CHASM, launches for the PS4, Vita, and PC this summer. Let's see what this is. It was funded on Kickstarter in 2013. Let's see. Chasm is an action-adventure game where you play a new recruit undertaking your first missions for the Gildian Kingdom. Let's see. Scroll down. Let's watch the trailer and see what kind of game this looks like, because what it looks like means almost as much as what it says it is. You know what it looks like? It looks exactly like Metroid Castlevania. It looks like Castlevania. Or maybe you would say Rogue Legacy instead. But because honestly, Castlevania in a modern instance is gonna look better than this, where this is 18-bit pixel, 16-bit pixel graphics, pixely graphics. This looks interesting, however. Like, this is the first game of the day that's caught my interest enough, I suppose. That game City of Brass is going to launch May 4th, which is insane because if you had asked me yesterday, I would have said City of Brass launched 4 months ago. It must have come out in early access. And the animation for City of Brass is fine. It's just the gameplay is not interesting at all. And I don't think people are going to play it. So this probably will be the biggest failure for the first half of the year at the very least, as far as a release. It's available in early access right now on Steam for $24.99. Let's see, 4 damage and mirror. Let's hit this and this and this and hit that. Yeah, City of Brass. Not gonna work. There's a game on Steam that came out today called Outbreak: The Nightmare Chronicles. It's I suppose, continuation of Outbreak, a game I haven't heard of. They have a lot of DLC and a lot of different versions of Outbreak. Outbreak Deluxe Edition, Outbreak Core Apocalypse, Outbreak Deluxe Apocalypse, Outbreak The New Nightmare. What is this? Like, one thing I notice with a lot of these games that come out, they don't even bother to list their own company as a logo at the beginning. This looks like a fan-made parody, I guess is what you would call it, of Resident Evil, with sort of good graphics in some instances. I know that there was a Alone in the Dark game that sort of, I guess Resident Evil and Alone in the Dark are pretty much the same thing, and I should just reference Resident Evil. You're playing as this girl wandering around, and there's zombies in the house. What's the review? They say it's rated M. I don't know if I believe them. It's 10% off for $4.49 for the Nightmare Chronicles, but the complete edition is 10% off for $13.99. $35.49, and if you buy the whole bundle, it's 23% off for $35.48. I gotta see some reviews on this because this could be a good game. There are no reviews on this. Let's see. What do I want to do here? Let's go back to Outbreak 1. It has mixed reviews. And it's a top-down real-time strategy looking game. Doesn't look that good at all. So then Outbreak the New Nightmare. It's mostly positive. 77% of 133 reviews. Oh, this is weird. So they transitioned it from a top-down 8-bit animation style into 3D animation, and in that transition they seem to make a decent game. And then the Nightmare Chronicles is the new one. So it's weird they're trying to build a build a brand on different things. I guess the only thing I can do here is go to the Outbreak New Nightmare and wishlist this game, and we'll just have to see. We'll see if the New Nightmare is a return to the roots co-op survival horror game where you face monster hordes. So yeah, there are all different types of gameplays. So I just wish listed a co-op game that I don't really want to play. Are these fake games, or is this just somebody trying really, really hard to make something good? Yeah, I'm confused. Just kill this one. Sorry, I'm going quiet here. I'm looking at this and I've hit a wall of confusion. Okay. I've also run into a game called D''Lirium, which apparently looks like a bunch of My Little Pony characters summoning demonic magic. I think this is probably a joke game. It has like 20 people all-time peak playing it, but it caught my attention certainly. Moving forward, something else that should catch everybody's attention, sort of, although who really cares? Valve has quietly gotten rid of the Steam machine sections. I would have thought they should have done that a little bit earlier. It is a good thing, I believe, because this is more evidence that they're focusing on making games and not making relationships with PC makers to make Steam machines. particularly with Toys R Us going out of business. That's a major person that it just, like, if you were going to sell a Steam certified game that that was designed to play a lot of games, but games on Linux, because that's really where Steam on machine means we're falling down, is that they were all Linux boxes running Steam OS, which is not really a greatly supported and mature operating system, and there's just way too much difficulty to try to get games to run on Linux. So, and the console makers, PC makers, just are not going to be super cooperative. That they never are with anybody. They've all got their own agendas, and because of that, they kind of half-heartedly cooperate, but they don't get into any kind of co-branding. The idea was always a little crazy anyways. Like, you're going to have a PS4 on the shelf, you're going to have a Xbox One on the shelf, and then all of a sudden you're also going to have a plethora of 5 to 20 other PCs, all labeled Steam machines that mean different things. Like, I don't think so. That's too much inventory. There's a game that came out today called Sudoku Zenkai, Zenkai. Let's see, I'm trying to see if there's anything crazy here. It seems like there are different symbols instead of just numbers, which is only going to make it more difficult. Like, there's a whole collection of different symbols and letters that it uses. So if you find Sudoku too easy and want to pay $1.79, 10% off, you've got the game. Let's see. Let's keep playing. I guess you got a game that probably would interest you. So I'm gonna follow or wishlist this game. I guess I'll just wishlist it and see. This is a developer who has published something else on the game on Steam, and it has gotten good reviews. So it's slightly trustworthy developer, even though they are just making a very simplistic Sudoku game. We have another game on Steam called Free Flight. It's a casual game about flying in the air with interesting plane physics and low poly design. Came out today. It does look bright and colorful. I do have to admit that. It's like, it does look like it's random polygon circles and rocks. Something like Grow Up might be a little bit less polygon than that. Very bright and colorful, and in a skybox that's a bright colorful orange thing. It doesn't look like there's really too much of a game here for $1.79, honestly. But if I ignore that part and lower my standards, probably lower than I should, I could see some people wanting to play this. PC Building Simulator, by the way, is also out. Doesn't sound like it's quite what I would want, and it does seem like it has more gameplay now to it, where you're going to get missions on things you can do to a PC. Let's see. Alright, here's our reviews for the game Free Flight. The reviews are: do not buy this. This game is an asset flip from the Unity asset store. You even stole the asset logo. Pathetic. Do not buy this. Absolutely pathetic to buy something from Unity asset store and upload it without doing anything. It will ban you from the discussions because you mentioned the asset store package. Let's see. Next is not recommended. I was informed this game is asset flip title. This is my first experience with an asset flip title. It's probably not. A lot of people run into them and don't even recognize it. Look at the comments in this review. I'm leaving the original review, but I'm going to flip the recommendation. It's hard to recommend a game knowing that no original content was added. So we found an asset flip from a developer who has only one game listed. But there's no flag button. Like, there's no report the product for being an asset flip. Like, the closest thing you can do is call it fraud. And this is a problem. Steam needs to have a system that scans the Unity asset store, sees the name, sees the screenshots, and compares those things. Just that simply. Kind of like how YouTube has a content ID. They need a content ID with the asset store so they can, at the very, very least, stop people from uploading these things. And I'm sure this game will get caught in a week or two, but right now it's on the Steam store and people may buy it. Looks like 2 people may have, because they played it to leave reviews. Next game we have on Steam is How to Cope with Boredom and Loneliness. Interesting title. It came out today by a developer who also made The Mind of Marlowe, which was positive. Rated positive. Let's see. This looks like a pixel graphics game. 16-bit pixel graphics zoomed in really close. It almost feels like a South Park-esque type game. What kind of game is this labeled? Free-to-play action adventure indie. Let's see. It's a free documentary film simulator. So it's a free-to-play game. I mean, I guess you can't complain with free, so let's see if there's actually anybody complaining with free. Negative reviews. There's 5 positive, 1 negative. The 1 negative review doesn't make any sense. Well, you can't really complain about free, can you? So, if you want a crazy game that is called How to Cope with Boredom and Loneliness, which is a documentary film simulator, and it's being used as an advertisement for The Mind of Marlowe, which I think The Mind of Marlowe looks like it is also a... Like, I guess I'm gonna wishlist this game and see if that proves itself to be something I'd ever want to play, because we've got like a real developer with a real style trying to actually make some good content, it seems. Next game we have is called Lucid Dream. Came out March 30th from Dolly Games, the only developer that the only game they developed. It's 40% off for $5.99, which is pretty expensive. It was this early access adventure indie puzzle, but it's got a trailer of some sort that says something. They're doing like a charcoal pencil sketch animation in this trailer, which for a game called Lucid Dreams, I think I'm just seeing a trailer that's going to take the main character into their dreams and have them lucid dream. Like, this is a good art style. Yeah, you don't really work in such a dark medium like charcoal until you have a firm grasp that you're not going to end up with a black blob on your page. Let's look at some of these screenshots. It looks like it might be a crazy adventure game with like a point and click adventure puzzle game. This is right in my bag. I'm gonna wishlist this before I even go any further. Early access, sadly, and really expensive, sadly, but I'm still wishlisting it. There's no reviews at all. Let's see. I'm not sure for a game. I would play a game like this. Dolly Games. I assume this is Salvador Dali that they're referencing. I would totally play a game like this, but I'm a little uncertain about buying a very expensive game from an unknown person. But I'm putting it in my wish list, so I'll probably forget about that and just spend money. Because I get a little shopping crazy when the Steam sales come. Next game we have is called Brain Power. Brain Power is a multiplayer battle of words game. It's a piece of junk game is what I can pretty well guarantee you. Let's see. It's just like gray boxes and terrible, like not even Windows 3.1 level of quality. 40% off for $2.99. No reviews. Nobody's gonna give this game the time of day. Ignore Brain Power. Also ignore the anime called Brain Powered, because that was also terrible. Just as a side note. From what I hear. Here we have what is surely a hidden object game called Dark Canvas, a Murder Exposed Collector Edition, which is, I think, a re-release of a previous hidden object game. Big Fish Games is the publisher, and they publish a ton of tiny sort of hidden object games for kids, or kind of pretends like it's for kids, although a game called a Murder Exposed Collector's Edition is probably not for kids. Yeah, hidden object game. They want $12.99. Hidden object game should not go for more than $2. So yeah, I will wishlist this, but I will never buy it at that price. Nobody's been online. It just came out today, so it has a online peak according to Steam database as nobody has ever played it. Let's see. Moving on, there's a game called Together VR that came out today. It's the first game by this developer for $12.99. VR games being a little bit more expensive. This looks like this is a sort of random collection of like 2 games. Like one of these is a Japanese relationship girlfriend simulator games that are starting to become popular. So this is like Japanese girl walking around your apartment. But then half the other time you're holding guns and shooting and in this metallic place. So it's like, are you going into VR in the VR and playing a video game? This apartment is way too well decorated for books. It's got major amount of bookcases. I don't know what that really says about anything. It just seems like somebody probably went overboard with the graphical assets. What does this game say it was? I was like, the description says, come indulge yourself in your own private den and create sweet and loving memories with her. All-time peak of 9, which is a lot higher. It's full Chinese audio with Japanese subtitles, so I imagine this is probably a Chinese software. I would have yeah, there's some factors that agree with that, because this animated girl is wearing like a tube top and hot pants showing off her midriff, which is not something that it's a little immodest compared to how a Japanese game would animate people. Let's see if there's any. Let's see, you need Vive or Oculus Rift to use it. See if the reviews are. Turn off that, turn off that. There are 2 positive reviews and no negative reviews right now. What do I want to do? Kill this one, I suppose. And kill this one. And kill this one. And then the turn. It does have a VR game inside a VR game. And this apparently you can play rock, paper, scissors with the girl. Yeah, the review's not giving it a glowing review as far as having actual content in it. It seems like there's a VR game, rock, paper, scissors with the girl, and maybe some conversation things that you could get through, and that's it. Let's see. What do I want to do? I attack with this, which means I probably could have attacked with that in the first place. I do this. I attack here. I do this. And in the turn. Well, this is the... Hey, we know Nikita Ghost Rush Games. This is just a Russian troll. Or some kind of troll of some sort putting out fake flip games on Steam. Every day, practically, he's putting out a new game. So today he's got Putin versus ISIS with MS Paint graphics and garbage, and 4-time peak, 25% off for 74 cents. Don't support this kind of garbage. People are reviewing it as troll jokes positively, which is not helpful. Let's keep playing here. PC Gamer has an article. There's a comet hurtling towards Fortnite, which I suppose they are teasing something new is going to happen at Fortnite. I assume this is both Fortnite and Fortnite Battle Royale. Let's see. Your Gamer has how to capture a Mew, how to unlock a Mew as part of the Mythical Discovery event. If you're interested in that. If anybody's still playing Pokemon Go. Mothership Entertainment is hiring a technical director. Let's see. Austin, Texas is the location. Mothership Entertainment. I'm not sure what they have made. I'm having a decent day of people getting disconnected and not playing too fast. Let's see. Technical director takes responsibility for developing, maintaining, and optimizing the next title in the award-winning Aven Colony franchise. Never heard of it. Mothership Entertainment is a plucky micro studio located northwest of Austin, Texas, in the Jollyville neighborhood. We focus on creating highly polished strategy game experiences with a tiny team and a close-knit studio culture. Interesting. I've never heard of them, but that doesn't really say a lot. Just keep on keeping on. See, I want to look at their website. They don't even have a corporate website. It's just aviancolony.com. How many games have they made? What's funny here is they're embedding a YouTube video improperly. Well, there's a bug with YouTube right now, which there might be a bug with YouTube right now. And so it's showing the next videos as you scroll. And I'm like, oh, that's my video that they're just showing on their website. Because I'm logged in as me and seeing all of that. Yeah, it seems like July 25th, maybe 2017 was when Avian Colony came out. AVN. And with no real fanfare. Let's see. Avian Colony joined Team 17's game label January 2017, the 30th January. So that might be part of it according to their updates. Like if they were sort of bought out. So maybe some big changes happening over at Mothership Entertainment. So if you're in Austin and can be a technical director, that would be cool. Let's just keep on playing and work our way up ranked. Next game we have is a game called A Story of Distress by Yellow Panda Games. This is the only game they've put on Steam. It's $29.99, really expensive, no discount. VR game, still really expensive. However, A Story of Distress is like not the greatest of name. And it looks to me like it might just be a VR dungeon crawler. Let's see. It says it's a strategy, action, adventure, and indie. Aren't they all? All of them are indie now. You and your brother set out to the big city of Aston in order to become successful merchants, but things went wrong when your brother gets murdered, filling your heart with pure rage. Take your vengeance on those who defied you. Use stealth to your advantage and try not to get consumed by rage. So it's like a stealth killing game. Nobody's reviewed this game, however. Nobody's going to put the money into it. And see, that's where big video game reviewers should be helpful, and they aren't. They just don't ever show up and pay the money to play really, really expensive, wild chances. Instead, they stick with the big AAA games that are easy bets, and often they get those games for free. Next game we have is called Escape the Pyramid. No reviews. Let's see. It looks like it's the third game released by this developer, all of which look like they have MS Paint style graphics, if they have any graphics at all. It's mostly a black thing. So this is attempting to do Super Meat Boy with MS Paint graphics. It looks horrible. Nobody's going to spend the 59 cents for it. 40% off to be 59 cents. And that's why it has no reviews. Moving on. Next game we have is called Pixel Arcade that came out today. Let's see. It's the first game by this developer for $5.99, which is quite a lot considering it has 4 reviews. This is more like voxels than pixels. It's some kind of crazy, I think, VR platform swinging game where you, with one controller, swing the platforms and the world. It says it has 20 plus levels. Let's see. There's only one negative out of 11. The negative says it's okay, but if you own Climbey, Climbey, then this isn't worth owning. It's a lesser experience than the same ilk in Neon. So that's easy enough to ignore this game because I don't have a VR and there's nothing here that looks that interesting. I don't think I'd want to run around and jump on a platforms in VR. I think we've already talked about it, but Nintendo of America, which would be Redmond, Washington, is looking for a software engineer. Being a software engineer for Nintendo of America pretty much means you're not going to be working on actual video games of Nintendo, though, because almost every bit of that is made in Nintendo of Japan, or it's to some other group. Instead, you'd be working in the software development support group, which supports Nintendo licensees in development of software on Nintendo platforms. So this job is a little bit different. So you'd be helping people port their games or get their games running on Nintendo Switch. That's a little bit better than the last job Nintendo had. We have a game on Steam called Wood Waves. Came out today, has 3 reviews. It's the first game by this developer. 10% off for $4.49. Still a little expensive. It has a trailer and it has graphics. They are very flat, intentionally flat, sharp, kid-friendly type graphics, I would say. Something you would see for, like, say, a early learning cartoon where you wouldn't want too much detail to confuse people. And it seems like it is a sliding puzzle with ice and teleporters. And So it looks like it might be a bit of a challenge. Let's see. Reviews. 4 positive reviews, no negative reviews. One fun puzzle game that can get very challenging in the higher levels. Don't expect an easy ride. Fun and relaxing, very cute. I agree. It's asking a lot for this puzzle game. And let's see. There's is an indication on how many levels there are. There are 50 levels in the whole game. Wonder why nobody's connecting today. PC Gamer has an article, the best and worst in-game books and codexes. Let's see if there's anything here that is really worth mentioning. No, not really an article worth talking about. We've got another game on Steam that came out yesterday called Space Vomit. Let's see. This is the only game by this developer for 99 cents, no discount. I think I may have even talked about this. It looks like a car driving around tubes trying to avoid things. Early access, 99 cents. And still no reviews. So yeah, I don't really feel like this game's ever going to be given a chance, even if it deserves. I'm not sure it does deserve one, but yeah, Space Vomit just doesn't look interesting, and it's not designed graphically to be very appealing. It's just a simplistic concept ripping off an old arcade game with slightly better graphics. Something that you might do in school if you're a video game programmer. Not a polished, finished product that's worth actual money. Amazon.com has stopped the development of the fantasy sports game Breakaway. Apparently they were working on a fantasy sports game called Breakaway. This is a PC Gamer article a day ago. So this might have been an April Fool's Day joke. So I need to take that with a grain of salt too. The quote is, "We didn't achieve the breakthrough that made the game what we all hoped it could be." Let's see. Amazon's 4v4 fantasy sports game Breakaway in 2016. Like, there's really not even too much. This is a rather short article even for PC Gamer. So, Breakaway is no longer in active development. Oh well, I didn't know it was in active development in the first place. And PC Gamer's April Fool's Day roundup. I see no reason to go over that again. Niantic has settled the Pokemon Go class action suit for $1.5 million over last year's botched Pokemon Go Fest, where the Pokemon Go Festival was a mess. You can read that article on Gamasutra if you're interested. PC Gamer has watched Far Cry 5's different endings here. I'm not sure I am going to say or watch any of those. I'll watch them by myself and not spoil it for other people. Star Citizen has patch 3.1, which brings its character customizations and new ships. Brings in more character customization, or some character customization. There was a person that was retweeted that is a video game developer of some game, and she's followed by Indicate at least, and she says, note to the industry people everywhere, 50 to 300 sales on itch is what a successful looks like on itch. You know, just for your information. Just think about this. Itch sales for me come to about 2.5% of Steam sales. That means that every sale on itch represents 40 sales on Steam. But that's for a game that's also on Steam. The lack of press given to games releasing just on itch means that the multiplier is way higher. So you would get even less sales if it wasn't on Steam. This means that a game can release just on itch and have a 100 owners and represent a game that could have 10,000 sales more on Steam. Any industry professional worth their salt should intuitively understand this and focus less on units sold on itch and more on the accolades like top selling in genre during release, but people seem to think that it just somehow moves thousands of units by itself, and it can't. Not unless you're very famous or, you know, maybe making porn. I love itch, but it'd be really nice if everyone could just be realistic about what's possible on itches sales wise. And then somebody asked, what time scale do you mean for those numbers? Launch month or so, or longer? Well, and she says, well, games on itch generally don't get any sales after launch month except for maybe sales. I don't want to get specific about my numbers in public because of my people misinterpret them, and I get enough issues with itch misleading industry people as it is. Fair enough. Alright. And the conversation just continues to go down from there. So the point of this, let's see, she's the founder and game dev of a game called Kitsune Games, is .com. So let's go to her website and see what games she's making. The point there in that conversation, as we continue playing one more game, is that there's been a lot of talk about, well, Steam doesn't get any sales, Steam doesn't get any sales. It seems like Steam still gets a lot more sales than itch does. Let's see. And so we should, let's see what kind of games they make. It looks like a lot of 8-bit bad quality games that you would expect on itch.io. So they are certainly in the right place. I would argue that of their games, one's called Ultra Hat Dimension, turn-based puzzle game. One's called No Way Out, point-and-click adventure. That's going to be confusing. One's called Pixel Crush Twin Stick Roguelike Shooter. One's called Color Graphics Adventure Dungeon Crawling Card Game. One's called Mid Boss Turn-Based Dungeon Crawler. And that's all that their website has, and every single one of those games don't look like they belong on Steam at all. Let's see. We have another game for Steam called Luminescence that came out March 30th. It has 5 reviews. It's 15% off for 84 cents. It looks like it's a visual novel. It's got that, yeah, casual visual novel, anime, fantasy, drama. It's got a trailer. Looks like your standard kids in high school visual novel type story, maybe with a dark twist at the end, maybe not. Like, you kind of just have to put that in as a warning for every game now. Let's look at what the reviews say. There's one negative review. Let's see. The negative review for somebody who played it for 0.1 hour says, terrible grammar, the story lasted 20 seconds. I hated every second of it. Please remove this awful trash from Steam store. Thank you. Let's see what the positive reviews say. This VR had very good potentials. Both endings left me with big questions and curiosity about the characters and the relationship. And this is for 0.2 hours. In fact, the longest anybody has played this game before reviewing it is 1 hour. So 1 hour of content, not even 1 hour of content for 84 cents. So I would definitely skip this even if you were a visual novel fan. Because this is just definitely not going to give you... Usually visual novels are the exact opposite too. They take forever to play. So if somebody can't even write a storyline and they're trying to release episodic visual novel episodes, that's not going to work. Like every individual 30 to 60 hour visual novel game is an episode. That's why they're so popular, is because they are cheap and can take up a lot of time. I got lucky there. I should have attacked with that first, then played the spell card. PC Gamer has an article that Fortnite passes Minecraft to become the biggest games on YouTube. Nice. You can get, let's see, is this still on sale? 35% off the game Grood, Grood, for $1.94. What is this game? It came out March 30th. It's a bullet hell first-person shooter game with one user review. Let's see. Insanely hard forensic gameplay. That's exactly the opposite of what I would want. If you want a bullet hell shooter that doesn't also have an anime aesthetic, Grood might be a game for you. But I don't know. It's the first game by this developer, so you're really making a gamble. Let's go skip that. And we've got all the new cards. I haven't even looked at them. I'm just going to look at all the new Wildwood cards for Hearthstone when the expansion comes out. I don't see a real reason to look at them until then. And so I'm at the Humble Bundle store. We've got the Humble Indie Bundle 19 and the Jumbo Bundle. The Jumbo Bundle is now, if you pay more than $5.17, you get about 7 games, and that's the middle tier. What can we do? Transform this one into a cheap. That's what we can do. And the other bundle was the Indie Bundle. That was the Jumbo Bundle. And the Indie Bundle is up to a medium of $6.15 to get about 3 games. And in 20 hours, 1 more are going to be revealed as far as what you get. Both of these bundles are pretty good, and they have some random things that you probably don't own. So there's something worth looking at. This will probably be our last game for the stream because we've done, I think, everything, and and I've just been playing for a while now just to, like, I finally did hit a point where I've done enough of the daily quests. Let's see, there's a Good Old Games latest weekly sale that has Splunky and Rogue Legacy on sale. I'm going down my Twitter now. Team YouTube says it's 500 error is now fixed. People were getting the error 500 on their server, which isn't that a bad gateway error? Maybe not. It's been a long time since I've tried to do any networking. Let's do this and this and this. PC Gamer has an article. Man, they're just hitting it. It says it has been 0 days since an esports pro did something racist. I mean, they're just gonna keep on going. We're gonna see a story like this every time. Let's see. And me opening new games for what's on Steam isn't even stuff that matters. Like, so I can just save that for Wednesday. Because yes, some more games have been released on Steam today. Scrolling down Twitter. If I play this, I can't do this. I'm seeing a decent amount of, like, the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim VR is now on Steam. Like, the Japanese visual novels seem to only start to roll in about this time on Monday, so it seems like they took the weekend off. Continuing to scroll through. Apparently, a Spyro the Dragon trilogy remaster has been possibly teased by a mysterious package. We'll talk about that Wednesday. Scrolling. Tomb Raider, Rise of the Tomb Raider 20th year celebration number 54 is airing, or aired 2 hours ago on my channel. I've been really bad and not pushy about asking people to click the bell. I know everybody hates to hear that, but I really do feel like there are people that want to see my content that are simply not getting notified when it comes out. You should be seeing 4 or 5 notifications from my channel every weekday, and if you aren't and you want to be, click that bell. The only other thing is, I guess, if you do like I do and you look at your subscription feed and scroll down to see everything from everybody, you probably already are seeing what everything I release, but I think a lot of people aren't. So I haven't fully thought of a way to ask and remind people to click the bell, but I want people to click the bell and subscribe. And if you have clicked the bell and you're not getting 3, 4, 5 notifications via a YouTube app on your phone, then you need to click the little pyramid next to the bell and make sure you didn't set it to occasional or set it to off. The whole system is not well set up. And so now I've scrolled down to where we started, which means I've seen all the news. All the news that's worth mentioning, I imagine. Yeah. There's really no story here on Gamatsu talking about a Spyro Dragon trilogy. They just got a weird dragon egg. And it says, the purple card said, "Something's about to hatch," signed by Falcon McBob. Falcon McBob is a name tied to Spyro the Dragon Twitter account. Let's see. And like Elder Scrolls from Bethesda Game Studios, Elder Scrolls 5 VR, and it works with the VR headset. Is it Vive or Oculus Rift or Windows Mixed Reality, whatever that is? And it's 75 achievements to get all over again, I guess, if you've gotten all the achievements. It's a completely standalone game, though. It's not DLC or a patch. So $60, $59.99 if you want to buy Elder Scrolls in VR. And what's funny is that this has 32 reviews and it came out just today. So I wonder how many of the rabid Skyrim fans are there. Interesting. I just somehow managed to lose all 8 of the negative reviews I was trying to look at. Interesting. A bad game called Downhill Deceits came out today from developer Jack for 99 cents. He just called himself Jack. Again, MS Paint level quality. Doesn't look good. Nobody's gonna buy it. Nobody's gonna ever give it a chance. Why do people even bother? A visual, well, this says it's an adventure game, but I don't think so. This is a visual novel if I ever saw one. Called Sisters in Hotel Episode 2 came out, tagged with nudity and sexual content. And how much is it for episode 2? 59 cents, 40% off. You can buy bundles to get this is part of a bundle called the 65,000 plus achievement bundle for $14.55. How many achievements are in this? 4,824 achievements in that. Man, they've really got to do something there. Really gotta hold back these people who are insane. They want to give out thousands of achievements. Somebody came out with a game called Pokkaman, P-O-K-K-A space M-A-N, for $1.49, 25% off. It says it's an action indie platformer. It looks like an old arcade game, or it's kind of styled against something like that. But it's probably just a vertical platforming, maybe Angry Bird-esque type games. There was some game I know I played similar to that. Seems a little too expensive for what looks like a cell phone asset flip. Somebody's got a game called Papa's Time Machine, 15% off for $4.24. It's 3D graphics. It looks like Prince of Persia ripoff. Interesting. It looks like a student project type game. Not something that really should be on sale for $4.24 or on sale at all. It seems like it's probably an asset flip too. Because it's just this weird combination of things that shouldn't be combined. And if I could have just gotten past these three, I would have won this. There's a free-to-play game called Her Lie I Tried to Believe. There's an anime called Your Lie in April. L-I-E. This is the only game by this developer. And it says free-to-play indie sexual content. Nudity, looks like a visual novel. It doesn't look horribly animated, but it does look like it's a marker animation and not a lot of shading going on. Every cutscene is mostly just a very zoomed in picture of the main girl's face. So I wouldn't be surprised if you spend the entire conversation in front of her talking, and that's it. No reviews, free to play. Soundtrack is $3.99. Let's see. They say it's a short kinetic novel about the persisting hatred of a boy throughout his life, the destructive relationship that was born from it, and the consequence he had to face as a direct result. I didn't know I still needed to get some of those things done. And we're slowly going up rank too. That's interesting. So, Druid class cards on Wednesday. We've got a pack of cards we can't open yet. And all is set well. We didn't even go that long. Now, I am noticing that after a pretty early point, there seems like nobody got on the chat. So I don't know what happened there, if everybody got bored and left or what. Nobody answered the question of the day. In fact, instead I ended up answering what my top 5 games would be, and roughly answered that. Well, that's it for this stream. That worked pretty well for a Monday. We're not too late. If anything, we're maybe a little early. Maybe I can get some Darksiders 2 footage recorded. That's it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, subscribe, click the bell, share, and watch every second of my videos, because all of that tells YouTube's algorithm that my video is good and worthy. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites like Twitter, Tumblr, Google+, Steam, or Battle.net, all of those links are down below in the description, including Facebook. If you want to support me, friend me on Steam and gift me a game or gift card. And that is it. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening. Bye.